Well, convicted mob boss John Gotti has died in prison of cancer. And out of habit, this is weird, his attorney said they would appeal. Well, London newspapers are reporting that Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones is going to be knighted. Wow. Keith Richards, of course, has already been knighted and is known in England as cirrhosis of the liver. All right. So now let's leave the religion part of this discussion up for a second, because I know we're... No, sit down. You know I'm more on your side with this, but we're just going to fight.
I love you for that.
Not going to solve this. But I do want to talk about, you brought up a great point about the prison, because I think this should be a wake-up call. They keep saying about the FBI and the CIA and finding out about terrorists, we have to connect the dots. And yes, law enforcement has to connect dots in the more immediate area. But let's look long range. This looks like a good place to connect dots long range. We have more people in prison in this country than any other place in the world.
And it's not working, is it?
Well, it's creating people who hate America. So it's easy for a politician to win an election by being more anti-crime than his opponent. You can always win an election by setting up some phony crime issue, and then when your opponent doesn't sign on, you have a 30-second attack ad that says, my opponent is soft on crime because he doesn't want to kill everyone. So voters go for that. People wind up in jail, many of them who don't really belong there, and they become hateful people. And you mix in the hatred of America with the religious element. I'm sorry, but you do find that in prison. And what do you have? We're turning out, I don't know how many Jose Padillos are in prison right now waiting to come out, but I think if you could take a non-violent person and make them violent, you can certainly take violent people and make them terrorists.
Well, I know you've done this a zillion times on this show, the drug issue, but it really comes down to that.
It does.
If you don't have people in prison for crimes that don't have victims, you have time to spend a little more attention on the people that really are bad.
Right.
This guy really was bad. He was killing people.
Yes, this guy was.
So we spent some time on him. But the fact that you have, you know, whatever the numbers are, they're sickening. People are in prison for, you know, marijuana or even cocaine or something. You let them go, and we have plenty of staff to take care of the other ones. We can watch them and watch them closely. And no one's going to argue that he should have been in prison. I don't think there's even a nut like me that would say that this guy shouldn't have been in prison to begin with. But he should not have been in prison where there's so overcrowded and everybody's in prison for things that aren't even crimes.
But prisons have always been breeding grounds. Prisons have always been universities.
So
people go to prison, learn how to do, you know, their crimes even better, and they sort of accumulate a few more you know, techniques, and that's what's happening here. It's basically another form of gang, isn't it?
It is, right,
It's another gang.
But if it's always been that way, what do you do about it?
Well, you could make prisons not this brutal feeding ground that it is. You could somehow try to make a prison a place where somebody doesn't come out and want nothing but to revenge the country that put him in there.
What's that somehow, I think, is the whole issue. How do you make it better?
Maybe there has to be different forms of...
I would just put fewer people in.
Fewer people is a good start, yes.
Well, I really don't think there's a real solution to that. I mean, as long as people do commit crimes, they will be sent to prison, and there will always be that feeling of, you know, being oppressed and sort of my right or, you know, my right to fight against the establishment. That is always going to happen.
You don't think there's a difference between sending people to prison who know they really don't belong there, and when they get there, yes, maybe they have to serve time, but they don't have to be raped while they're there? There's not a difference there? I think there is.
Yeah, but Bill, I think if the people who sent them to prison beforehand knew they didn't belong there, I don't think they'd send them there. I think it is a situation where
you gotta be kidding.
I think it's a situation where they really do believe these people have committed crimes and do need to be sent to prison.
You think everyone in prison in America? How thin is the air up there?
I don't think. I don't think. No, hold on. I'm not saying everybody in prison belongs in prison. What I'm saying is accidents do happen. I mean, things do happen which are not right. Okay, people will be in a situation where, you know, they were wrongly convicted. But then, when they do come out, then that issue needs to be addressed.
But this guy wasn't wrongly convicted.
Yeah, I don't think people are sent to prison knowing that they were innocent.
No,
it's not something that's done intentional. That's the point I'm trying to make.
You got to be.
Bill, you're referring to the drug laws, right?
That's just that's a big part of it.
They are the laws, though. Don't you think you should be working to change the laws rather than saying that people who break the law are really innocent when they broke the law?
Well, yeah, of course we're saying that. Yes, we should change those laws.
And they really weren't innocent if they broke the law.
Of course they were innocent. It's the law that's guilty.
Well, then you need to change the law.
Exactly. Of course. What do you think? I'm planning to back a mule up to the county jail and knock out the wall and break them out that way?
Saying they're innocent and they broke the law until the law is changed, they're not really.
What a lawyerly thing to say. That's the way a lawyer looks at it.
I am a lawyer.
Not right or wrong, innocent or guilty, moral or immoral, but just what happens according to the letter of the law, which has nothing to do with
Well, then, Bill, if you're saying those people are innocent, then what other people are innocent? Maybe a murderer can say, well, yeah, that's on the books too, but hey, I'm innocent. Or somebody else can say, well, you know, usury, that's on the books too, but hey, I'm innocent. Or money laundering, that's on the books too. Tax evasion. But hey, I'm innocent.
There are some things that have been illegal that has been overturned. That things that become illegal for once are not illegal forever. You can drive on Sunday. You can buy, you know, liquor in certain stores on Sunday. Laws do change, and this is just insane that we're putting people in prison who've hurt no one.
Right, and poverty certainly has a lot to do with who goes to jail and who doesn't go to jail. It was in the paper last week again. Yeah. The income gap continuing to widen. People don't see, I think, the connection between that and people going to prison, between that and an underclass of people who are becoming hateful about this country, who are living in this country. And when they fall in with the other people in the world who hate us, that's a lot of hate.
Michael Milken went to prison. Alfred Taubman, another billionaire, was just sentenced to time in prison. Wealthy people go to jail, too.
Wealthy people go to jail, too. Right. That's right, Debbie. Wealthy people in almost comparative numbers.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
But also wealthy
people go to prison.
Possibly commit fewer.
Tim McVeighs are terrorists. There's always a red herring that'll screw up the real argument to solve the problem.
Bill, if everybody agreed with you that all of these people were innocent, then everybody would vote for congressmen that wanted to change the drug laws. But nobody is voting for those people. So you're in the minority. Most people think these people are not innocent.
And I hope to stay in it. We have to take a break. We'll be right back.